We are going to talk about different topics, and the topics today's topics is infrastructural planning for training process. But before I talk about that, uh, I would like to ask you if you have got any question for the previous day's session. Any feedback or any question on the last session? The last session was the inaugural session on this managing training process. So, if you've got any question, you can please ask me. No question? If you don't have any question, then I'll go forward. Yeah, I will start with today's session. Well, I told you in the last session that this is basically a development and an implementation process of our the whole training process. Any training process, well, you manage the training process. It starts with the needs analysis, as I told you earlier. Then that is a design phase, and then after that design phase, there is development and implementation phase. And so we are basically at the development phase right now. And in that development phase, there is one very important issue. That issue is that uh, mm, we need to make instructional strategy. Instructional strategy, sometimes it is called as training plan. So that is important to be made. And so as a part of that instructional strategy or training plan, there are various things which is to be looked into account, keep in account. That means every detail of the training process is to be taken care of. And that training process, how when the training will happen, and what will be the venue, who will be the target group of people, how the training manual will be prepared, who will be the trainers, and all those kinds of things, all details will be taken into account while in the instructional strategy. So keeping in view with that aspect, now we will see one by one all those elements which are included in that instructional strategy. And towards that end, that infrastructural planning for training process is an important topic, and that's what we're going to discuss today about the infrastructure, various infrastructure which are required in a training process. These are all the realities of a training process. As many as a kind of planning that we make, if the success of any training program will eventually and ultimately depend upon that how whether we are in a position to create that kind of infrastructure which is required for the success of the training program. So we will see that what kind of infrastructure, which kind of infrastructures are required. This will be done in different sessions one by one, but today we'll start with the beginning of it. So now let me share the my this presentation screen with you. Hello, Mr. Arun. Please allow me to share the screen. Share the presentation screen. You have disabled it probably. Hello, Mr. Arun. Can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Arun. Hello, Mr. Arun. Can you hear me? Hello.
Sir, you are right now a co-host. Just share the screen. Actually,
Yeah.
the network. Share the screen, sir. Share the screen.
Okay.
Okay, okay, right.
Yeah. So we're with our presentation, the infrastructure planning for training process, and today is the day two. As I told you, that infrastructure planning is a part of that instructional strategy or the training plan that we need to make for every training program. Now, what are the components of this infrastructure for implementing training process? Now, let us see the components involved in it, the various components involved in it. Number one, the facilities, the various kinds of facilities that is required in the training process, and that those we will see one by one in our different slides. The training site. I mean, if there is a training program, is must be conducted somewhere. Uh, what is that site should be? What is the most suitable site depending upon the target group of people and depending on the kind of program, depending on the purpose of the training program. What are the logistical arrangements that are required to be made? Although we'll see to it, and briefly, that is logistic. Transference of the materials and the people, the trainees, the trainers, and all that. Their staying, their boarding and lodging, and everything is that part of this. The physical arrangement where the training program will happen, the sitting arrangement, the room, the air conditioner, and everything, all those things, and the facilities that is required in the sense the various kinds of equipments and all that is required in that place. And the kind of environment that is to be created for the training program, that is also to be seen. The environment should be very conducive for the programs to be conducted. Now that will create an experience for the trainers, the trainees, and the trainer also. The equipment, those are needed to be needed to be made available for the training program. How that is going to how we are going to see that. Then the materials, various kinds of other materials like training manual, the training material, and all other things, and that's required for the stationery that is required for the training program. The furniture that will be used depending upon the kind of program, the kind of training program that's being held, that is also part of the infrastructure. See, these are not a small thing. Everything has got its own importance because everything is going to create certain impression in the the minds of the trainees, and that is to be taken care of. Now, when we start with the training facilities, the training facilities can be of different kinds. Now, let us try to understand it. The training facilities, because when you make a training program, you plan for a training program. The very important thing is the two things are very important. Rather, the three things are very important. What is the training kind of training that you're going to do? Who are the target group of people, and what is the venue where the training is going to be conducted, and of course the fourth one is who is going to train the people. I mean, these few things are very important. So when you talk of training facilities, yes, training facilities initially and fundamentally and basically can be done in two ways. Either the training program is be conducted within the premises of the organization who is conducting the training program, that is means the in-house training program, or it can be somewhere outside their premises. So we'll see to that. The first one, that when in-house, when you the question of in-house is there, then the issue is that whether do you have a training system, the training interest in the sense that do you have a training center or a training hall, how many rooms are there, and availability of the rooms, if the people are to be staying there, or if they are not staying, where the training program will be conducted, is there one room is there and the one room is sufficient or not. So these questions will be there. The offsite training program means if the program is going to be conducted somewhere outside, maybe in a hotel or maybe in the premises of anybody else, any outsider, and through an outsourcing agency who is conducting the training program for the organization. So if there is an offsite training program, and then there certain questions comes. Number one, the reservation that of the people who are reserving that particular off-site place. So if it is a hotel, we have to reserve it for that particular day when the training is going to be conducted, and designing that. I mean, that place is to be designed, the sitting arrangements and all that, where it is to be going to be conducted. The breakout rooms, apart from the training hall, there must be a room where People can go there, and the training, the materials and all other things can be kept there, and other people can, those who are not part of the training exactly, but they can stay there for helping in the process of training program. The sitting arrangement is seen. The dividers, I mean, if sometimes it happens that there are two rooms are there, and the training program, particularly in a hotel, sometimes what happens that you are giving a training program, conducting a training in a particular hall, and there is an adjacent hall in which there is another training program is going on. Now there is a divider in between. Unfortunately, sometimes what happens, the sound that comes from the other part of the room, it becomes so disturbing. So you are not in a position to really conduct the program. So one has to take carefully that how what is the kind of divider is there, so that there is no disturbance in a training program. So there is a soundproofing arrangement should be there, so that the difficulty is not there. So in an offsite program, a representative of the training for the people who are dealing with the training department or the particular concerned department of HR, they should go and see all these things themselves and ensure that such facilities are existing there and there is no issue with regard to that. Now there comes the locational training program. Yes, what is the locational training program is little different than it is an offsite program, no doubt about it, but it is something different from the other kinds of program. The locational training program is there. Say sometimes what happens that you need to train a number of people, maybe hundreds of people, 200 people, and 500 people, or 1,000 people all over India. So all over your country, you have to train. Now, it may not be economical to call them in one place because there are thousands of people, and if you do number of programs in one place, every time you give the expenditure for to and fro and hotel arrangements and all that, that becomes a very costly affair, and it will take a lot of time also to accomplish the training program. So, what is an alternative arrangement? The alternative arrangement is that let the people be there in their respective places. The trainees be at the respective places, and that some trainers are sent from the central place to all other different destinations. So trainers go there in the particular destination and they train the people there. So what happens? The expenditure for to and fro hotel arrangements and I mean transportation, everything is only involved in respect of the one or two faculties, not the whole number of people. That is one. At the same time, you can send 20 trainers to each at 10 different places, and then 10 different places you can train, say 50 into 10, say 500 people in one day. So the number of training people becomes maybe more. Number one. Number two, the cost involved in is comparatively much less. So that's what is called as locational training. Sometimes what happens, you have to train people in an early, I mean, in a very short span of time and within a limited budget, then it's better to do these things. So there you have to see the reservation of so that particular location where you may have to hire a hotel or any other training venue. You have to get the boarding facilities for the trainers there. You make an arrangement for that. You have to transport the materials, the training materials, the manuals, and all that which is required, and the equipment that is to be transported there. So the transportation cost is also involved in it. So this is what is known as the locational training program. In that training facilities, you have to see what are the seminar rooms. That is there availability of seminar rooms. Sometimes what happens, the training program is be conducted in a hall, and maybe some people go in a seminar room and they start discussing. But you want them to discuss certain things and come back to the training hall, and then they should discuss. So for that, there should have enough space, and there should have proper sitting arrangements where the people can go to the seminar room and make their discussions and all that. Now coming to the hall, the for the training for the hall is a very important issue because there the training is going to be conducted. If the training is going to be conducted somewhere, it should have enough space. Number one, enough space to accommodate the number of trainees. Number two, the moving space for the trainer. Many of the trainers and they would like to have a moving space where they can move in between the participants and so that they can create more better a relationship with the with the trainees and so that moving space is required and then there should be a proper board. I mean, it may be an electronic board as today or any other board. The LCD projector should be there properly fixed and in a working condition. The pointers for the PowerPoint presentation should be there. So the hall is there and everything related to infrastructure within the hall for conducting the training program, that is also to be seen. The auditorium. Now there is a difference between the hall and the auditorium. And the hall is where the hall is comparatively a smaller area, where the auditorium is a much more bigger area, and where the people may sit not only in the ground floor, they can also sit in the first floor. And there is a big, the dais where the trainer will give the presentation. And it's also difficult for the trainer to go within the participant. Most of the time he'll be on the platform on the auditorium. So there again, if it is an auditorium, what is the sitting capacity of that auditorium? Generally, auditorium can accommodate much more people in hundreds or thousands. So the availability of microphone is a very important issue here, because in a small hall, even without microphone, one can manage to give the training, deliver the training. But in case of an auditorium, it's not possible. The microphone must be there, and it's a proper microphone should be there so that the sound can reach everywhere. There should have proper LCD representation system so that everyone can see to that. The, there is the requirement of videography in most of the places that people when give a training program. If there is to be videograph, so videograph should be there. There should be a podium on the dais so that the trainer can at times can keep his things and can stand sometimes with the help of that and deliver his lecture. So in a training facility, you will see the various things needed to be seen, and each and everything is very, very important. And one should ensure before they conducting the training program to see each and everything, sending their people, the representative to that particular location where the training is going to be conducted. One should see. And even after, as a trainer, I must say that the trainer, those who are going to be a trainer, they must beforehand, if that particular hall or that auditorium is not conversant with earlier, he should first go there and see how the things are going on. Because the moment you go inside an auditorium or a hall, you have got a different kind of feeling. A feel is there, and you should be able to make an adjustment with that, and you should make an idea then how you are going to deliver the training program there in that particular place. Well, now let us go to our next slide. Yeah, offsite training facilities. Offsite training facilities. So as I told you, the training facility, offsite training facilities is what? In an offsite training facility, the benefit for the conducting institution is that there's no need of infrastructure, because they are not to make an arrangement for the infrastructure. The infrastructure will be given by those people who are either the hotel or any other training auditorium being supplied by somebody else. So there's no need of infrastructure, no interruption in training. That is another thing. When we are in a place where in the local area the training is going to be conducted in-house training program, the trainees may be at times interrupted because by the through their concerned department to for any question, for any issue, for any problem, they may be contacted time and again. Whereas if the training program is conducted in an off-site, in a distant place from that place, so the question of trouble creating that interruption is very less, and that is one benefit. The change of pace, that the people, if it is in a in-house training program, the people who are attending the training program, they cannot really feel that change, because they feel that as if it's a daily routine, that's what they're doing. Instead of going to that office, they're going to the coming to the training program, but there is no much of change. Whereas in get an offsite training facilities, they will get enough change. So, and sometimes in a training program has a characteristic, it's a requirement to create some change in the minds of the people also. It is not merely getting the knowledge, it is also creating that change from their day-to-day routine, they create some change. and that change is required. So there is some change of pace, and people have a very different feeling, and that's important. And that is also, we can also call that as a pattern breaking. I mean, you are doing certain things regularly, and uh, you are busy with the same kind of routine. Now there is a pattern breaking in their thought process. They start differently, they become more inquisitive, they are now more curious to learn something new, so that changes. It's also stress removing. Stress, when you change from one daily routine to something different, a different place, different people, different atmosphere, different environment, there is change of stress is generally removed, and that is also one of the most important purpose of any training program. Well, now let us see the next side, the physical arrangements. Now, when we talk of these, as I said you that the training program may be in-house, it may be uh, off-site training program. But when you talk of off-site training program or even the in-house training program, there are certain things. The physical environment is to be looked into. The physical environment arrangement is that choosing the venue. Now, choosing the venue is a very very important, very important matter. So if it is going to be conducted in-house, the venue is not an issue, because that is there is a, because many of the organizations, they do have their own training centers. The training centers may be situated in one place, centrally located place, or that training center may be at different places of the country. Say for example, an organization may have 20 training centers all over India, or if they may have only few training centers, two or three, or maybe only one training center centrally located in some place, or maybe in their head office. So it depends upon the organization, that if there is the less number of training facilities available, then you have to choose and go outside, and you have to choose the venue. When you have to choose the venue and you're going to a hotel for making an arrangement, then you have to choose it. And the choosing is very important, because you have to see the proximity of the training place from the trainees, because all the trainees you're going to call from different places of the country, so there is a cost involved in it. You see that, number one. Number two, the how is the venue, and the hall is good or not. The place, it is a place where the parking facilities are available for the trainees or not, if they're coming by any other mode of vehicle. So that venue is very very important, and also the most important part in that is the cost involved in it. Now again, there's one aspect which needs to be discussed here, that when you're talking of physical arrangements, or when you're talking of a training program, it may be an organization, or maybe as a trainer we are going to conduct a training program of yours. When you are conducting a training program, the cost is very important for you, because you are trying to generate certain revenue, and then that cost is very very important. So when you talk of the cost involved in it, then choosing the venue, choosing the kind of hotel, what is the cost of that per day cost for the hotel, along with your lunch, dinner, and all those kinds of expenses which are involved, and that is also matter. So choosing the venue will also become a part. Will be also, this is also part of the choosing the venue. That is the place, the layout, the location, the facilities that's being given to you. Everything is very important. The furniture, yes, that what kind of furniture they're giving, the place, the table, the chairs, and all of the things which is required to give the conduct the training program. The room configuration, what is the shape of that room, what is the lay of that room, what is the dimension of that room, that is also important. Is it congested, or there isn't enough space where the trainer can move in between the students, right? And that's important. The room configuration is also important. The equipment material for training delivery, all the equipment like LCD projector, the boards, if it is electronic board, and all these things, and if there is a flip chart is required, and all those things are seen, and the material that is required for the training program, whether it's there. So physically, those things are to be seen. So maybe before the training programs, representatives or the people who are in charge of that particular thing, they have to go and ensure that things are available, things are at present in its proper place, because it should not create any disturbance while the training program is going on. Well, after that, let us see, choosing the venue, as I said. This is one point. And there are a few things which are, as I told you, this is one of the most important thing, because the venue is going to create the, it is going to determine the cost involved in it. Number one, it is going to create the environment in which the people are going to be trained. So these two things are very important. So if it's an on-site training, within that premises of the organization, advantages are, there are certain advantages. Accessibility for trainees and trainers, because this is a local area where you can very easily get the trainees and the trainers. Because the trainees from outside, they may come, they may join, they may not join. So trainees and trainers are available easily. The place is familiar for the trainees and trainers, because that is a local place for them. It's more economical and cost effective, because there is no cost involved in boarding and transportation, lodging, and all those expenses are totally reduced. So it's more economical and cost effective. And since it is your own place and which you're conducting the training programs even earlier, it's easier to fix the equipments, materials, and etc. You're already conversant with that, so that becomes an easier thing. This is the advantages of an on-site training. But there is some disadvantage. The disadvantage is that uh, distraction from the office routine, because the people who are attending the training program, they're likely to be disturbed by their concerned office when as and when there is some necessity or there is a need, right? So there will be more distraction from the office routine, which is not desirable, and at times it becomes so much and people cannot really join the training program. Help for setting up equipment, catering is not available, because since you are doing it yourself, so it's not, we are not going to get the help of other people, other, say in a hotel and all that, where they are not getting the help. You have to arrange everything yourself. Even the catering equipments have to be managed by you. Your people has to do that. And the catering also, if you don't have, if it is a training center, there is no issue, because you are already in a training center. There is infrastructure available for catering and all that, and hostel facilities and all that. But if otherwise, you have to make arrangement for the catering, the food and all that, lunch and refreshment, if any, and beverages that you give. That's one. And another disadvantage is that it is the same routine. People do not find any change in that, because they're attending the training from the same place. The same routine is there. So there is no change. There is no removal of stress, and there is no removal. And there's no really change in the mind, and which is also required with the purpose of a training program, which you do not get in such a case. Let us now see the next thing, the room layout. Room layout is, it's also very important, because it's not a small thing, you know. How the room layout will facilitate the training process, because in a training process there are a few things which are very important. Number one, the movement of the trainer in between the training. That's one thing. And the trainee should have enough space to keep the belonging and the writing and all that. The trainee should have a proper layout where they can sit face to face sometimes whenever required, for discussions and all that. And so for discussions also, whether what are the kinds of facilities available. At times when you break that room and break the people, the participants into groups, and so that they want to make a discussion, whether it's possible to change that sitting arrangement immediately, and so that that kind of thing can be done. So room layout is important, is very important, right? The dimension of the room is also very important, and the length and breadth and all that. Well, so let us see that in a training room there are, what are certain things which certain things are important in it. Number one, it should be the training room should be learner friendly. What do you mean by learner friendly? Learner friendly, number one, the environment should be such that people feel like sitting there, and they can really get the concentration to listen to the trainer. Number one, the trainer should have enough space to move in between the training, and become more closely to create. They can create the rapport with the students. The room desirably should be windowless in the sense that there should not be distraction from looking outside. It's better that if it is a windowless room. And if at all there is a window, there should have curtains so that disturbance is not there. At times, to create an environment, we require certain materials to be posted on the walls, and if it is there, that should be available in that room. There are various things, various quotations, maybe various data that can be posted in the walls, so that it can create an atmosphere of that particular training related to the training subject and that particular training. They should have enough and proper lighting of the room. The lighting is very, very important because lighting creates a conducive atmosphere. People can see everything clearly within the room, and there is enough light. The room should preferably be square because that will give us better dimensional facility because and the people will not go much back in the behind. So they'll sit in the first row. The number of people in the rows will be more, so it's better. The square room is better. There should have arrangement of soundproofing because if soundproofing is not there, it can create disturbance with the students because with the training program because as I told you earlier in a hotel room sometimes there is a wall which is kept in the partition is kept between two different halls, but enough of sound comes from outside, or even otherwise, if it is a training hall somewhere within a very congested area, the sounds from outside may be disturbing, quite disturbing. So that soundproofing should be there, which can create a better environment for the trainees to get the training. The temperature of the room should be cozy because that's really going to create an experience and they will feel better to be in that good place. Whenever required, air conditioning is desirable. And I must tell you that in many of the training events, the entire training program gets a very bad opinion regarding two things are very, very generally it is seen by the experience that people complain about that and that really gives them the bad experience. One thing is the room is not air conditioned. That's one big complaint from the participant. Another thing is the lunch and dinner is not good. So one has to take care of this aspect, at least for air conditioning, wherever possible. It should be there, although people may have got more than expectations more than required, but still that's one very important thing to create that congenial atmosphere. Yes, if there is no air condition, at least if there is a fan, the fan should not be noisy. And sometimes it happens that the room is there, there's no air condition, the fans which are there is creating a lot of cracking sound and all that, and that creates a very bad impression. Creates a very bad environment for the people to be attend the training program. There should have hanging charts and posters as it is required, but it should be properly placed, properly displayed, so that it gets a very tidy look. The board should be adequate. Whiteboard should be there. The board should not be a smaller one. It should be neat and clean. And today there is an availability of the digital boards, and those who can really afford to, digital boards are very good, and that can be very easily, managed by the trainer. But it creates a very good impression, and with many automated facilities involved in it, so that can be used very well. The lighting control, because lighting control is required because you may at times may have to change the intensity of the light in the room depending upon the kind of training program. Say for example, if you're going to conduct some concentration work or some doing some meditation, you may have to dim the light. So there should have enough facilities of dimming the light. So depending upon the requirement, the lighting can be reduced or lighting can be intensity can be increased. That lighting control should be there. As I told you earlier, the smart boards are today now it's being very commonly being used by the organization. That smart board has got many facilities. You can erase the contents of the board easily. It's more neat and clean. You can take out the entire thing in a desktop directly on the board. So that creates a lot of benefit, and it creates a lot of good impact in the minds of the trainees, that they can really enjoy that. So that smart boards are wherever possible. It can be used, and if it is there, it's very good. The audio facility should be very good, because otherwise that's going to really create a lot of disturbance in the training program. So audio facilities should be seen that it's properly done. Then the audio is there, and the sound, the microphone is there, the sound, the speakers are there properly, their sound is proper, and everything is in place, and it's ready to be used nicely by the trainer and the trainees, right? And so the next is, see, we can see that furniture that I told you earlier, that furnitures may have different kinds of layout, which you can see here. Um, it may be U-shaped. The benefit of U-shape, that is, the trainer can go inside there are three sides that the trainees are there, and the trainer can move in between. It may be a round shape in a conference kinds of thing, that's round or square shape, single square shape is good. So there may be a normal classroom type. There may be two benches and the chairs on both sides, and there is an alley in between, so one can go there. There may be cluster. It may be V-shaped. It may be a traditional classroom. So there are different kinds of classroom there, depending upon the kind of training program being conducted and the room that is being used. The furnitures can be used, but this should be seen before the training program is being conducted. This should be inspected and seen that everything is proper and can be, the training program will become, it will be conducive for the training program. Well, now so far I have asked you I have talked about some of the part of the infrastructure, which will continue even further. But so far, what I have asked is those are very tangible and the physical and the most realistic part of the training program. And many of you may have faced these things in your respective organizations, or you may have already attended certain training programs. They've got some experience. So if you want that now, you can have some of your questions that you have got, or you can share some of your feedbacks and talks regarding this. Yes, please. If you got any question that you can ask me.
So may I?
Yeah, please come out.
Yeah. So in the previous slides, there was a point you said somewhere like outside training or something. There was a term,
Outside training.
the place where training is. Yes. So you were saying that there won't be any interruption or something. But sir, how matlab, you were saying that uh, uh, we hire a banquet and then we conduct the training there. Everything is being handled by the people of that building or that hotel, and then there is no interruption and soundproofing is there. But sir, many times it happens that training is being done at some open place or some like these sort of places. Like some ground or some other areas. So, sir, there is to like a huge amount of interruption is there. So, sir, how a handle how a trainer can handle that?
No,
That
no.
comes into
See,
interruption.
see, if you are choosing an open place, that's your choice.
Huh.
If you are choosing an open place, that's your choice. Then you should know that there will be a lot of disturbance. There is a possibility of disturbance. Depends
Hmm.
upon what kind of open space is that. If it is within a park or it is somewhere else where there is no disturbance is likely to be there, then that's fair enough. But if you knowingly go inside a place which is full of disturbance, it's your issue. Yeah, so
No, sir, I'm not. So, suppose I have seen multiple trainings which are outbound trainings and which are like done in open places where extra, if we are not considering people as disturbance, we can consider nature itself as disturbance, like wind blow or something else, or rain or something else. So, in that context, I'm asking that if we are conducting a training which is outbound or offsite training, then there are multiple interruptions still which are associated with offsite training. As you said, na, that offsite training mein koi interruption is not there. So
No,
that
no,
is I'm asking.
see, no, you could not get that point. See, what I say to you here, the disturbance is not from the, not talking of the nature's disturbance. Now, if you choose a
Hmm.
place and there is some natural calamity, you cannot help it. There is no issue. But here the
Hmm.
disturbance is there is that when you are in a local place, it's not outbound or somewhere outside, your office and your people, maybe your the people in your office or your customers will disturb you because you are in the local place now, right?
Hmm.
Since you are in that, so maybe somebody will call you, somebody will come and try to meet you that there is an issue in the office, can you please come for this or give you a solution, give your decision and all that. The disturbance from that point of view, it is not from the nature or any other thing I'm talking about. But in on the other hand, if somebody is in offsite, so he have left his own place and he has gone somewhere 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers, or 1,000 kilometers away from there in a training center or in a hotel, everyone knows that this place is not, this person is not here right now, so we can talk to him only after 10 days or 15 days or 5 days or 6 days, depending on the training program. So I'm talking of the disturbance from that point of view. If there is any natural disturbance, is something different, natural disturbance is something different. uh, Nature's disturbance is something different, that is that you know already, that you have to face it.
Yes.
If at all there is something, you cannot help it,
Huh.
because the room, the storm may come, the rain may come, that you cannot help it. But you should rather enjoy that situation when in an outbound program. I think sometimes it becomes more of a learning process than anything else. Yeah.
And sir, one more question is there that recently in the just in this recent slide you showed the seating arrangement of multiple styles.
Huh.
So exactly my point is that what or what is the extent of significance of this topic to a trainer? Matlab, so what is how much significant it is for like to learn about a seating plan means it could be like na happen like they might be given just in a row or column wise seating structure and the trainer may call up and if something has to be done or performed the trainer may call up to them at the front and just do the activity whatever is can be taught. So sir, what is the role of this seating arrangement process in
Okay.
trainers
Uh-huh.
learning?
Right. See what happens, I tell you. There are two things involved in it. Number one, a trainer should be, as I always say, the trainer should be able to give the training, deliver the training, whatever be the condition, wherever he is being asked to. Even if you ask to give a conduct a training program in a street corner, you should be able to do that as a trainer. But that's one aspect. Right? Are you getting my point? What I'm trying to say, the trainer should have all the capabilities to give a deliver a training program at any place, at any situation, at any room. Fine. But when you're going to conduct a training program, your layout or the venue or the room creates a lot of impact on the trainer. Not only on the training, but on the trainer also. When you stand on the dais and you start looking at the hall, the sitting arrangement, it creates an impact in your mind. So I tell you one thing, it's very interesting to see that when initially, you see, if I take my example, it's better I give my example. That initially, when I was facing only 30 or 40 people in my training days, in say about 30 years back, more than 30 years back right now, 30 people in a small room, I had a different atmosphere. And then gradually what happened, it someday I found there is a hall and which 100 people are sitting in front of me, 100 or 200 people are sitting in front of me. It is a different atmosphere for me. I felt nervous about it. And then gradually I became accustomed to that. So I was looking for what kind of, how I can move about within the people, how can I become closer to them, where is the dais and all that. And then sometimes people stick to the dais to create this nervousness and all that, you know. Then suddenly one day when this I was accustomed with the 200 people in a small hall, suddenly I'm in a big hall when there are 1,000 people are sitting around. Right, the moment that I was in that hall, there's no possibility of my moving below the dais, because the dais is at a very high level, and you have to come through the stairs, you have to go down and then go inside the people. So there is no possibility of meeting with the people and going, creating the rapport with the people, being in close proximity with them. So I had got a very different kind of feeling, and it took me some times to get accustomed to that. And then suddenly one day I was invited in an auditorium. In an auditorium, when there is a ground floor, there is a balcony, and there are about, I mean, thousands of people sitting all around you. And the entire atmosphere is entirely different. The sitting arrangement, the people there, you have got a different kind of feeling, and it took some time to get accustomed to that. So every layout or a room has got different kinds of impact on you, and a trainer should gradually be accustomed to that. And I would always say, and it is what I always see, that if training hall or something which is unknown to me, even for the first time I'm going to conduct there, I should better first visit that and create that, have a thinking in my mind how I'm, say, the inner entire training room, you find there is a continuous row and there is no in between, there is no alley in which you can move about in the training. You have to make your own planning for giving the training. you know it becomes very difficult for sometimes for the trainers to sit on the chair on the dais and just continue to give the lecture. That doesn't become effective also. So you have to make this sitting arrangement has got a lot of impact. And as you grow, become finer in your training and delivery, you'll find that these things are important. But then, because of doing all these things, a time will come you will not find any place as difficult. You should be able to give training program, deliver training any place, any kind of situation and all that. But then it definitely matters. It's only which you can understand out of experience. You may have already experienced it, and if not, then you will experience it further also. Yeah, please, if I could say something to you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. It's clear. So basically, you're telling about that accessibility should be kept in mind because it affects the psyche of a trainer while training.
Absolutely, absolutely. Creating a rapport, it depends upon the training program and the participants. What kind of participants are there? So that for creating that rapport, they should have enough room and space where you can architect your planning, that how you are going to give the training. Sometimes you'll become stationary. Sometimes you have to move about. You have to be with the people. So it will depend upon the target group and the kind of training program that you give. So, but that facility will get depending upon the training, the training room or the layout of the room. Yeah. Anybody else? Anything else? No. Well, I'll be discussing about about these issues today only, right? So you don't have anything else, then I will go further and talk about something different. Well, after that, we'll see that the breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are these. There is a training program being conducted, and you have seen that training methodologies. You have seen training methods, different kinds of training methods are there. The lecture methods are there. I mean, the cognitive training methods are there. The experiential training methods are there, as we have seen. And in the experiential training methods, also different kinds of training programs are there. It may be a role play you can make. You can make a simulation program. You can make a discussion kind of session is there. So all these things, say if you are going to make a role play, or you're going to make a discussion, sometimes you may have to separate the entire group into different whole group into different smaller groups for discussion. So, and they need to discuss it in privacy in their respective places. So there should have various breakout rooms where they can sit and they can discuss with each other, talk with each other, and make the discussion, so that they can come back with the findings and the of their discussions later on in the usual class, and can share with the other participants. So there should have separate room located close to the main training hall. Uh, this is I mean, these are all the small, the breakout rooms, where people can sit together, sit separately, and have discussion. And that is availability of that, depending on the kind of training program. And in many of the training programs today, when you talk of the experiential training program, it becomes very good to have that kind of facility. But it depends upon. If it is not available, doesn't mean that you should not be able to. You can make your within the same room itself. You can make the layout different now, and people can sit and discuss. That is the issue. For working of groups in privacy, the benefit of these breakout rooms is that the people can sit in a privacy and work in a group and talk to each other, discuss with each other. You may have to in a breakout rooms the facilities that you can keep the flip chart, the table, the chairs, the phone, computers, all your belongings and all that, all your things you can keep it in that room, and as and when it's necessary you can use that. That is also beneficial. It can help for this group discussions. It can help in a case study also. So people are sitting in the rooms in privacy. You can doing that case study, going through the case study and taking the necessary things. They can also even sit inside and discuss with each other, and then come in the main hall. So breakout rooms have got certain facilities which should be are there, which should be available there. The physical environment, although we have already talked about it, but till now we're talking separately. The temperature is important because if it is a coming upcoming winter season, the room should be cozy. If not air conditioned, there should be heaters and all that, so that the people feel comfortable in the room. Because otherwise, the training program is not going to be effective. The lighting in the room should be proper because that is again, and that is also creating an environment. The sound system should be proper, and what happens. One has to take care of these things beforehand. You just cannot go and check it right now because you may find something faulty. Some faulty machine is there. So somebody should before and one day before should go and check all these things there. Then everything is all right, ready. If it is not available, then it can be arranged within one day. The sound system has to be seen properly if it is there. The safety and sanitation. Safety of the room should be there. Safety of the room in case of any fire or any other things that people can go out easily from there. That should be ensured, and the sanitation facility is there properly. It should be room should be airy, so is very important. The air condition and air quality, as I told you earlier, that is important. It is going to create the necessary uh, environment for the trainees and the trainer as well. The external noise should not be there. If there is an external noise, that soundproofing system should be ensured it's there so that everything becomes the noise becomes soundproofed, and no disturbance is caused in the training of the trainer. The training room should be clean. Cleanliness is important because that's going to create that environment, and that people may feel at home there. It's very, very important that you may always expect that light goes off, the electricity goes off. So, do you have any facilities for the generator? And if at all you have got a facilities of the generator, the two ways that you must have outsourced it from somebody, but you must ensure that necessary fuel, the diesel and all that, which is available there and it's ready and it's in a working condition. As and when there is a problem, the light goes off, the generator can start immediately, and there shouldn't be interruption in the training process. So that not only this, also apart from this, for the computers to run, and then all other things, the uninterrupted power supply, the UPS is functioning properly. On these are very small things, but these are very, very important issue. Or this can totally ruin the a training process. Um, well, it's going on. Well, now let's go to the next point, the refreshments. Yes, refreshments sometimes you may have to supply to the people to divide. When there is a proper refreshment, it creates contentment. So if it is not there, there is a discontentment. The water is not there. Sometimes in between some beverages, some drinks which are given, light drinks are given. That is also creates some contentment. It becomes refreshing, but one thing is very important here, and I must say that a trainer within the between the training session going on, there should not have any disturbance. And sometimes what happens in certain places, it is seen that abruptly somebody comes and starts serving something. If at all you have to serve something, you should give rather 2 minutes break or 3 minutes break, 5 minutes break, and then they talk casually. And at that time, people may take the refreshment. That's always better rather than allowing things abruptly to come in between and just complete the process. No, that should not be there. The refreshment should be there, but it should not be so refreshing that people start sleeping in the room. That's also important issue. Don't let the people sleep by taking the refreshment. We should take care of that. And that serving disruption, as I was telling you earlier, that sometimes in between people abruptly comes and starts serving something without even talking to the trainer, taking permission from the trainer. No, it should not be there. There should a proper time when it's said that that should be served, and people comes in that lighter mode, and that serving should be there. So on that's important, and that should be taken care of. The materials and equipment. Now, talking of the materials and equipment, you have talked of the venue, you have talked of the talk of the room, the temperatures, and all that, the conditions. But now the materials and equipments are also equally very important. I think it's going to create a lot of issue if it's not properly there. The printed material is very important. Now, printed materials are to be given to the participant as and is necessary. Sometimes people think that printed material should be given in advance, maybe are given in the first day itself, or sometimes people say that it should be given at the end of the training program. Those are all debatable issues. Depends upon the kind of training program that you're conducting and the target group that you're talking about, and the importance of the training material in the training system, in the training process. That has to be seen. So printed materials, it should be there, because that's very important. Because whatever the trainees listen in the class, that's not enough. They should go and read those things and connect those things which they have learned in the class with the study material. The slides should be prepared in before and by the trainer. Those slides are very important because for delivering the training, the slides are going to help him, and not only that, it's going to create a visual impact in the minds of the trainees. So the slides and the proper presentations are to be made properly so that our training program becomes okay. The chart, sometimes you have to display certain charts, flip charts or any other chart that is displayed in the training hall, in the training room. Those should be prepared first, and that should be properly displayed in the training room in time. And similarly, there should be some posters if it is required. The posters are to be displayed in the room. The charts, the posters, it should be prepared beforehand, and it should be mm, prepared there. One should take care of all these things. So one point wise that everything is ready, right? And then the time frame, there should have some a time frame for doing all these things. If you are conducting a training, going to conduct a training program, say 1 month later. So right from today, you have to think about, because you have to think about the venue, you have to think of the hotel, you have to think of the materials to be prepared, think of the slides to be made, you have to think of the taking care of the trainer, you have to inform him, you have to discuss with him, you have to create charts, you have to create the posters and all that. So there is a time frame by which the training program will be conducted. It cannot be just done overnight, right? All training cannot be done overnight, so that is not also going to be that quality of the training program. So time frame is there. There should have sufficient time available for you, and you should rather do it sufficient in advance of the time, right? And a training program, you if you're in charge of training system or in a particular department of HR where you're looking after the training, you cannot do it yourself. You should create a team where you should allocate the different works to different people, and that according to the allocation, people should do their work as per as the allotment is done, so that you should be able to allocate the work depending upon the different people, their competence, and then everything. So allocation is very important. You cannot do everything yourself. Certain equipments you have to order before and within time. So you should see that, you should ensure that sufficiently in advance that the equipment's in order. If you have to order for an LCD, say for example, you're going to conduct a training program somewhere outside, you've taken a hall don't have the LCD projects and all that, or so you may have to order it from somewhere else. You have to order it in beforehand. LCD projector, the speaker, the sound system, and all that you have to order with the respective outsourcing agencies in advance and in proper time. And we have to follow up for all these things, that if everything is available, if the materials are available now, the equipments are available in time and all that, but follow up is to be made. The follow up is to be made with the hotel also, for creating that venue, for creating that layout of that infrastructure, making that infrastructure available for the training program. So and then you have to ensure the quality of each and everything, the quality of the project, the quality of the sound system, because that sometimes, sometimes it can deceive you at the last moment, that it's not working properly. It's not a desired quality that you're thinking about. So you have to ensure that quality of that. It should be take care of this. It's taking care, that's important. It should be taken care of in advance, so that things may not at the last moment you find when you don't have time to really rectify those things. So you should take care of that. And then, of course, for materials requirement, the cost involved is important. So you should compare the cost of different places. So if you're selecting a venue, a hotel, you have to compare the cost between the different venues. When the cost is there, then even the refreshments, the lunch and dinner, everything included, what is the cost and what revenue you are going to get. If you are conducting your own training program, what revenue you are going to get and how much you are going to incur as a cost. So then you have to compare that. If an organization, you have to see the what is your budget for the particular target group, then how much you are going to spend, and accordingly, the availability of the venue and the cost involved has to be seen, and the necessary orders have to be placed, and follow-up is to be made. So the materials and equipments are the most realistic part of the entire training program, and that has to be done in a proper manner in advance. And people should be there who are responsible for taking into account, taking care of those things, and they should follow up, and so that the training program on the designated date can be conducted properly, smoothly, and to the satisfaction of the trainer and the trainees, creating the desired result to the organization. When it comes to trainees manual, it is something important, because as I told you, the trainee manual, the trainees, when they're in a particular classroom, whatever they're listening to, that is not enough, because they have to now, for apart from that, they have to go inside the they should go through the training material, and you can connect those things together. So in the training manual, certain things which are worth, taking into consideration, that instruction strategy. In an instruction strategy, training manual is very important. Uh, the notes of the key information should be there. It's desirable. As far as possible, the notes and the key information. Key information in the sense, whatever training they're getting related to the job area, particular job, and the key information related to that, right? That is to be better to be get displayed, so that they can easily see at a glance what's there. The material, the lecture materials should be there in the manual, the materials and whatever subjects is being taught, the topic that is being taught, the details about that, the various learning points involved in that. Learning points vis-a-vis, keeping in view their job profile, the learning point should be particularly mentioned there. Any other supplemental reading, if it is required to be given, that can also be reference to that, it can be given, and for the necessary website and all that may be mentioned there. Wherever required, certain exercises can be introduced into that, so that they can do the exercise themselves and really get that understanding. There should have some blank sheets involved in that training manual, so that whatever notes they want to prepare, they can prepare as and when they listen with the training program. So the lecture material, the learning points, supplemental readings, exercises, blank sheets, there's all things together. It's a training manual, and that should be given to the trainees. Of course, it's preferable in the beginning of the training program, they should be given that, so they can read that, they can write on that, they can really use it properly to the benefit of their learning. A training manual can be training manual, maybe different kinds of. It may be in the form of a binder, it may be in the form of an handout, it may be in the form of an exercise book. So everything has to be seen that what kind of training, how much training material is being given, and what is the target group, and all that. So depending upon that, that kind of the materials can be prepared, and that can be given to them, to the trainees, so that they can really use it, and that's very very important for them. That not only they use it for the training program, that can become a very future reference point for them for discharging their duties in the respective job profile. For and understanding the different kinds of binders, two-ring binders may be there, it may be three-ring binders, it may be fork binders, it may be as simple as spiral binding also, right? Or it may be a whole proper binding in the binding form. Sometimes it is given in the form of a booklet, already printed booklet, right? So it depends upon the training program that you're conducting, how much cost you have got, and what kind of training program, what is the target, and that is taken into consideration. Now coming to the trainer's manual. As there is training manual, there is trainer's manual. That's something which is important. Now trainer, while the trainer is an important thing in the whole training process, because ultimately he is going to deliver the contents to the training, right? He is going to transfer the training, and so therefore it's very very important. See, that in the regarding the training program, what the trainer is supposed to know and deliver to the people, right? What trainer needs to know about the training program. I mean, the trainer should be given a glimpse of what is expected from him, that he should know and he should transfer to the people. It is not just merely delivering a talk. The purpose behind is this: they should be able to transfer the knowledge to the people, so that the people can get the necessary training, and which can be used in their respective job profile and their places, and creating an impact of the training program. So what trainer needs to do and how you should do, that should be given the trainer's manual, which the trainer can really refer to, right? So a trainer manual becomes a visual aid for the trainer. The trainer, sometimes can see that, can go through the materials, what is there in that, and he will come to know what he is supposed to deliver. He's supposed to talk to the people, that visual. So it becomes a visual aid for the trainer. Trainer knows what are the expectations from him, from that trainer manual, because everything is written there, what is expected from him. So accordingly, a trainer prepares himself, so that it comes to the meets the expectation which is made for him in the from the training program, right? The trainer get a structure of his training program. The trainer may have to deliver a talk for 45 minutes, for 1 hour, for the whole day, depending upon the training program. So a trainer must know that what he is going to talk about in a particular session, what is the structure, either structure of the entire session or the structure of the whole day. What is the structure is being there, and accordingly he prepares himself, and he can distribute his time accordingly, so the training program becomes successful. So that trainer manual becomes a blueprint of the entire training program or the training session. It becomes a blueprint, because by seeing that, the trainer can understand what he is going to deliver and how he is going to deliver, what the timings he will take, how much time he should take out of that. So it's a blueprint for that. So trainer manual becomes a very very important, document for the trainer. Now, and very important point which I'm going to discuss here, I have it confidence. A trainer may be highly competent in his area, but in spite of that, sometimes people, a trainer may know everything. He has got all the experiences and he has got everything, but sometimes he may have got a If he doesn't have anything in written with him as a manual, sometimes it can create a lack of confidence within him, because it gives a support to the trainer, even if he may not refer to that. The very thinking, then the very thought that there is some things with me which you can always refer to while discussing, while giving the training program, that itself creates then it creates that confidence in the mind of the trainer. So that trainer manual creates that confidence, even though the trainer, an experienced trainer, may not require to really refer to that at all. But that I have it confident, I have my manual with me, ready with me, that creates a confidence sometimes. And particularly for the developing trainers, those who are comparatively new or developing, so they create a lot of confidence while talking to that audience, talking to the participants, and he has got a manual ready with him. Not only that, apart from that, the trainer, should be on the material. There is enough space kept whether he can give his lecture notes in the maybe in the right side. When the lecture notes are given, right side of that material, lecture notes are given. And small notes are given which the trainer can follow. The trainer himself can write on that. And some of the instructions are given on the left side. Sometimes what he is supposed to do. Maybe there is an theoretical concept in which there are certain examples written there. Maybe certain exercises which should be done. So that instruction is given on the left side. So the lecture notes and the instructions are given so that a trainer can be ready with those things while delivering the lecture in the classroom, and he can really conduct those things. Expected information and response. And at times, the while delivering a lecture, there some word may come, some abbreviation can come, some issue may come, which a trainer is supposed to tell. And but unfortunately, it is not always possible for a trainer to remember everything. He may at times forget certainly. But then if those pertinent points which comes while the training, those information is written there, and their answers or their clarifications are kept there, it becomes easier for the trainer just to refer to that point, and it can remind him of a particular thing or a particular situation or the particular word, a particular terminology, a particular information, particular statistics, which becomes handy for him now while delivering the lecture to the audience. Certain spatial terms, as I said, certain terminologies are sometimes, there's certain terminologies because there are thousands and thousands of terminologies of different subject areas. So it becomes difficult for a trainer to just remember everything as it is. So the spatial terms and abbreviation and all that, the terminology, the meaning of that, the abbreviation of that, yes, abbreviation of that, the entire words for that, and everything is written in that trainer manual, which you can refer to as and when necessary. It becomes very handy for the trainer, and the training program also gets benefited by that. The current events, sometimes the historical events or the current events which are very important, which the trainer may have to deliver to the people. So in respect of a particular topics or a particular issue or a particular question or a particular theme or a particular concept, the events that are connected to it, maybe the current events or the historical events or the future possible events, those things written in the manual. As and when it's necessary, the trainer can refer to that and he can discuss that with the group, and that becomes a beneficial thing for the trainer in conducting the training program. So you can understand the trainer manual is something very very important, and the training program, it has got a lot of importance for the training program. In particular, it has got a lot of importance for the for the trainer, because he is going to really use that properly, and they're going to benefit him. That benefit is there, you know. So trainer manual is something very, very important. Now let us go ahead a bit. And the equipments. And I have already talked about the equipment, but still you can just have refreshing that. Video monitor and VCR. If that monitor is to see, it is there always. OHP nowadays, people do not use it probably, but if it is there, overhead projector is there, so one can use it. The personal computer should be properly there. It should be properly in the functioning in a state, and PC should be there. The LCD projectors are very very important. It should be LCD projector. Its remote and everything is there. It's in a functioning condition, right? Wherever required, the screen for the projector is there, or some arrangement is there where that screen can be projected, that the images can be projected, that should be seen earlier properly in a system. The sound system one has to take care of that it's there properly in its place and in a functioning condition. The extension cords, outlets, these are very very small things that are very important. You have got everything, you don't have the extension cord to connect your sound system. That's all, everything is gone. You have to wait for an hour. Somebody will come and do that, and it may not even, sometimes they're done in the whole day. So it's very important that one should take care of that, and should first one should rehearse those things. I think from my experience, when I conduct any training program, I make a chart of everything. What are the possible things that I may require? And do I have that right now? Then make a list of all this. And there may be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 items. I just go through that in beforehand. Yes, everything is arranged, or everything in the process of arrangement, and the follow-ups are being made properly to that. That should be seen, and that is very very important. Otherwise, a small thing can totally disturb the whole training process, and you may just ruin the thing, right? The chalk or the dry board, whatever is there, it's there. And if it is there is a chalk, the wiper is there properly, the board, you can clean the board properly. It should not be dirty, it cannot be clean, and there is no cleaning system. It should not be there. That's everything, because that is really going to create that the temperament of the trainer also, and the visual things that are going to affect it's going to create for the training. That's also important. The flip chart and tripod. A tripod sometimes you require for hanging a flip chart. So it's a tripod is there. Not only that, the podium is there for the trainer. The podium is there in its place, and sometimes because there's a place in the podium, but the trainer can keep his materials and all that. That should be seen. The generator is there. It is in a functioning condition. That's important. If it is in a functioning condition, then another condition may come that diesel is there available or not. Diesel is there in stock or not. So that kind of thing. Equipment, important thing, very important thing, has to be seen earlier with follow-ups and all that, with some responsibility given to some people who are going to look after the respective things in there in these things. That's very important. Well, everything coincides together, everything is done properly, then the training program becomes all right, and it creates that real important impact in the minds of the trainees and the trainer also, and for that it gives real, the transfer of training takes place and create gives a result that is desired from this. The personal arrangement for the people, the trainers or the trainees, that is another very very important issue. You may have to make the travel arrangement for the trainer as well as the trainee. If it's an outside training facilities where the trainer has to go, and the trainee has to go, so the travel facility, the travel booking and reservation has to be done beforehand. You have to see the cost involved in it, and you have to see your budget and all that, right? So, and that travel facility has to be made properly in time so that people can reach there in time and can attend the training program properly. The lodging facilities are there, the hotel facilities are properly people, it's already reservation is done, and people can get that facility in time and properly without any difficulty. The local travels as well as the intercity travel and all that traveling arrangements and booking for that has to be done in earlier. The events that you're going to conduct for the training program, any other social thing that your social event that you're going to conduct along with that, it invite somebody, invite some VIPs and all that. You know, look and take care of that. That everything is done properly in beforehand, and the ceremonies that is going to be conducted, it's done properly. And the recreation of, sometimes in a training program the purpose is not only merely the training program. You think that there should also change of the people, in an outbound training program, the people executives and all that, or even other managerial people, would just want them to have some recreation So half a day there is a training program, half a day or from few hours you can allow them to give the recreation and all that. So how we are going to do that? You have to make certain arrangements for that. You have to make some, make some arrangements with some outside agencies who can really take care of those things and can help you to take that. So that has to be also to be done. So that is also a very important aspect which is to be taken care of before. So now with that, we come to the end for today's infrastructure facilities. We have talked exhaustively about different kinds of infrastructure. It is not only it is the venue, the layout, the equipments, and the facilities available, the the rooms and all that. So everything is the manuals, the trainer's manual, the trainee's manual, everything is very important, and we have talked about that. And you may have also you may have already experienced these things in your tenure, as a trainer, as a trainee. So now I would like that you know, to share something with me, or you want to ask me any question. You're most welcome. Please come on. Anybody, any question, anything you want to share with, any feedback, any discussion, any question, please do come out. I can't hear you.
No question.
No question. So abruptly. Hmm.
Sir,
Any,
Sir,
actually,
I've got one question.
I
please.
joined late, sir, actually. So, I just last part of your lecture. Sorry, sir. So, I don't have any question.
No
Sir,
question.
sir, once sitting layout is finalized,
Huh.
so is it because once the training progresses, so if the trainer requires that, there has to be a change in sitting arrangement.
Huh.
So is it possible to do in between?
Actually, that is the thing, that is the thing you have to think before. And, you may have, if there is a chance of making any change in the sitting arrangement in between, you should see that things are not fixed and it can be changed, right? And right kind of furniture is there, you know. If you go to a place where everything is fixed, you cannot make any change, right? Now that becomes a problem. So, these are the things which you have to think of beforehand. For that, you have to take care of, see that what kind of training program is there, what kind of target group is there, and you have to discuss with the trainer also that what kind of facilities he wants, what kind of sitting arrangement he wants, what kind of, because what kind of events he is going to do. So, that is something which you have to see, and that's why these are being discussed, right? You are right. That is required. One may have to do that. So one has to take care of it. Hmm. Yes.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Ah,
Today the session was very nice and the topic is
yeah,
very simple.
little louder, please. Huh?
Today the session was very nice and it is very simple, sir.
Okay. You
Sir,
see,
last class I was absent. Sir, please can you share the material in our ISTD Google Classroom, Delhi Google Classroom? Last day's presentation.
now the problem is this can be shared by the ISTD only, because these being recorded by them. Are you getting my point? This
Uh,
Sir, sir,
these are
actually,
being
the
recorded by
facilitator,
them. So you can talk to ISTD people so they can give you this copy of that, copy of the recording which you can get from there.
sir, actually, the facilitator of the Delhi chapter, he can share, no, sir. Actually,
Delhi chapter you can talk to Delhi chapter.
yes, sir, yes, sir. That is what she is
Sir,
asking.
sir,
Yeah,
Every time it was shared
sir,
by them.
I just wanted to say that your last week's recording is already in the Google Classroom.
okay,
Sorry, in on YouTube, and people who want to see it can go there and see it.
fine.
Um,
That's what I'm doing. That's right. So those who is asking me this question, please go to YouTube, and you can.
I can share it. I have the link. I will share it in our group, and people can
Oh,
watch it from there.
that will be so nice, sir. So nice. But please share it so that people can get the benefit of it, because already it is done, conducted. Why should not people get the benefit of that? It must be right.
Mr. Chakrabarti,
Yes.
It's just in the last, last class with Mr. Wild, hello? Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so in the last class with Mr. Kaushal, we had a discussion where I requested for the PPTs to be uploaded in a Google Classroom as we used to do it in semester 1. So he has agreed to it. So probably they would be there. I have not checked it. I would check it, and if it is required at all, we would be having a word with Mr. Kaushal, and most of the faculties over there put PPTs in the Google Classroom. Because sir, it is there always. The whole of the lecture is recorded, and it is actually presented in YouTube, IS Studies Daily Chapters YouTube channel. But then one has to go through the whole recording, supposedly, or you have to find it out. Whereas if you have PPT, you just can recall all those things. If you have attended the lecture, even then you can get a kind of glimpse, and you get to revise yourself.
I have already told them to do that. They should share this.
Yeah, I have not checked it, sir, but then it is only for the benefit of those people who have asked or posed a question.
No, no, it's required. Since we have made so much of efforts in making the presentations, why
Mhm.
should not this be shared with the people? That should be shared. So you're rightly, as you have talked to Mr. Kaushal, that's nice. I think you will be taking some steps towards that, right? So that
Yes,
it can give the benefits to you,
yes,
right?
yes. Thank you, sir.
So I think if you don't have any other question, then you have to say goodbye to you.
Yes, sir. I
Uh,
missed your class, sir. And I just came into the last part of your this lecture.
yeah.
Yes, I'm very sorry to that. I'll go through your lecture, sir, in the YouTube.
Thank you
Sure.
very much. You must
Thank you, sir.
go through it,
Because
and the
the,
next day, maybe in the next Sunday or so,
mm,
come out with our next topics, the further topics, and where we can discuss with each other. But
yes, sir.
I would always expect that after going through this training program, this training session, you should jot down your points. You've got any queries or any question that you generate in between, please write down that. So the next program, when you start the session, you can ask me those questions, right?
Sir, I have one thing to ask you, sir.
Please,
Sir,
please.
regarding this subject, which book do you prefer us to read?
You see, regarding the books, I think that book by Blanchard is okay. I
Okay,
mean, the
sir.
book suggested by ISTD is okay. The Blanchard book is there.
Okay, sir.
That's
Understand.
enough. Because these are all very practical things, You may
Yeah,
not.
I could understand, sir, that one question that he has asked, whether the arrangement can be changed, wherein that it in between the say lecture or something like that, and you have said that no, it has to be done beforehand.
No,
By
it
the
can
way,
be done in between. No, no, I'm not
uh,
saying that it cannot be done. It can
mm,
be done in between, but for that,
mm,
one has to see that furnitures are such that which can be changed easily.
yes, sir.
You have to
Okay.
ensure that.
Mhm,
If it is a fixed kind of chair, fixed kinds of table which you cannot move in between,
mhm,
then they cannot make that changes. So if
mhm,
at all there is a chance of doing that kind of thing, that kind
mhm.
of training program, your furniture should be such that which can be which are movable.
Okay.
That's what. So in between you may have to. Sometimes
Yes,
you
sir.
need to do that. You may
Yes,
not
sir.
have an
Yes,
extra rooms for where
yes, sir.
people,
Yes, sir.
right?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
I just wanted to, before you enter the class, I just wanted to bring to notice Arunji, the facilitator. Arunji,
Yes, please. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I just checked Google Classroom, and the PPTs haven't been uploaded. Could you just take it with Mr. Kaushal?
Sure, ma'am. I will coordinate to Mr. Kaushal, sir. Thereafter, we will share in the Google Classroom for the PPTs of all the sessions over there, right?
Yes, I could just see that all the 4 PPTs for 7th of March are yet to be uploaded. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. Right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right. So with that, I think we are coming to the end of the training session to today's session. All the best. Take care, and we'll see you in the next program. Bye. All the best.
Okay, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thanks a
much,
lot.
sir.
Comprehensive class.
Bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.